Real news, real issues, real events. It's Ceola Wilson, one-on-one. You're watching Bermuda Real.
We've approached the halfway point or just over. I was surprised in reading your bio. You were quite the athlete back in the day. Long distance running and so forth, and kind of made me wonder why you always support them zebras and not people like Somerset Trojans. So you donated money over the years consistently, but why PHC? I have a problem with that, but that's a personal issue.
That's okay. Let me say we won't be tribal about this. When I was the MP for Warwick, that is the location of PHC. Not to mention my father's involvement with PHC over the years and what have you. So it was a natural, and we started supporting that way back 12, 13 years ago. And it's a pleasure for us to support their program. I wish we could donate more, but we have to save some for the lawyers. And so we do what we can do with PHC, and we're very proud of the relationship, proud of the work that they do with the young people. Because you know what? For every young person that goes astray, there's a counter effort by certain people in our community who have not given up.
So talking about support, quite a few people were bent out of shape, and they still say, well, they gave Dr. Braun's medical practice all that money, and they, what's the situation with that from your point of view? Because there's a lot of misconceptions when it comes to things regarding you.
Yes. And I wish things could be clearer. They would be clear if my detractors would simply deal with the facts. But you remember, I left a very bitter taste in the mouths of racists in Bermuda. And there are many, many racists active and alive in Bermuda. And so they continue. And I expect that when I'm gone from this earth, they will still be stomping on my grave, to make sure that I'm really there. The point is that with respect to that payment, you might recall that when Trevor Moniz was the Minister of Health, he took steps at the last official act of the OBA in Parliament was to severely slash the payments made to Bermuda Healthcare and Brown Darrell. You got a whole medical system that's spending $700 million, and he chose to make legislation that would slash the fees paid to us for imaging. Okay.
Personal?
Well, yeah, yes, part of it, of course. He knows my agenda and I know his, so we can't say that we're surprised.
So no other imaging places were slashed?
The hospital was going to be affected by it because he couldn't make it seem like it was just us. But then it became impossible for the hospital to continue without correcting that.
Well, didn't they at one point try to say that the hospital's the only place you could go for imaging?
Yes, they tried that.
How dumb was that? The hospital can't handle what they have on most days.
Well, you and I know that, but the government decided, the new PLP government in 2012, 2013, tried to compensate for this rash and irrational government move by the OBA. And so some of the fees that would have been in place were restored. That's all that was. There was no new money in it at all. That's what happened. And now since then, there's another organization that is planning to open an imaging center as we speak.
Yeah.
So what was the evil in what we were doing? And if we were too much, then what is this? So we understand what is going on, but I think most Bermudians will understand that there was no gift made to me, that there was an attempt to restore a company that had been providing a service to Bermudians for many, many years. And that's what the government did.
When it comes to economic disparity, though, we've been talking about it for years, but technically no administration has ever dealt with it on a level, you know.
I would say the correct statement would be no administration has succeeded in any fundamental shift.
And why is that in your view?
Because it runs deep and long and strong. And when you try
but now it's headed up by this perceivably young administration. A lot of them went to those elitist schools. There are some grassroots Bermudians who feel some of that Salters crew and the other private school crew, when it came to the education and enlightenment of blacks, produced a lot of twisted black people.
Well, you know, I'm trying to stay away from the
I didn't know you was a Berkeley ID though.
No, I went to Berkeley for one term.
So that means technically you're not a Berkeley.
I loved it. Yeah, let them call me whatever they want to call me. I went to Berkeley for a term, and I went to technical for a year or about a year and a half. So yeah, but let me say this, that clearly it doesn't matter where you went to school if all of the people who have tried to alter the economy of Bermuda have not been successful. And when we come forward with proposals, there are people who believe that it's just too disruptive. When I say that there should be a Bermuda People's Corporation as part owner of every casino, there are Bermudians who think that that's not correct. It's not good. That's what you do. That's what we have to do to shift the economy. And one of the things we did was to try to contract with the government, contracting with Black Bermudians in areas where there had been no contractual relationship in the past. And so there were hundreds of contracts that were awarded to Black Bermudians during our administration.
Outside of politics, do you have a life these days? What you up to?
Of course I have a life. I'm determined to have a life. I was rewarded with a new grandson on December 28th. His name is Nolan, and he is in California. I'm trying to get out to see him and to meet him and hold him. So yes, life goes on. I just finished spending a week with my sister. We talk a lot, but because she lives in California, we don't get to see each other that much. So yeah, I have a life, very much so.
So what's next for you moving forward? How's your sons doing? Because people say, well, you know, he had 2 sons in jail. And
absolutely had 2 sons in prison. Both of them have been released. They're doing well. And it seems like there are increasing numbers of Black families affected by that. So we have to keep on keeping on. We can't give up because that happened. And so they're both doing well. And the other 2 are doing very well, Trey and Donovan, and they're doing well. So I feel that it's been a good ride.
You miss practicing?
Practicing medicine? You know, I don't miss the day-to-day, but I do miss the people contact. I do. I love that, you know, but I still get calls from people asking for advice and what have you. And I keep my brain active in that. I didn't get too deeply involved in the vaccine fights that were going on, although I did express my opinion in a public statement urging people to take the vaccine. But no, I don't do much. I comment when I'm asked to do so.
But I don't see you in the paper. You don't talk to the paper?
I take it you mean the Royal Gazette?
Yes, that paper.
Yes, I do talk to the Royal Gazette on occasion. But if you know and understand the history between me and the Royal Gazette, you can understand. So
for the young people and senior citizens out here struggling who say that you politicians are all about the money, all about yourselves, all about hooking up your friends and family, what's in it for politics. I get a feeling there's a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths about what's happening, what's not happening in terms of political progress in this country. What would you say to those people? Because a growing number of seniors have told me, I live with 2 seniors who said, that's it, to hell with all of you. I really see that number of people who didn't vote at all growing. You say?
I'm disturbed by that because there is no other system in place. And so we work with the system that is there. And if the politicians fail to excite the people and fail to satisfy some of the desires of the people, then they will pay the price.
But their silence is deafening. Yeah.
Well, politics is not a silence game. And so the politicians will speak up. I hope that the politicians will shift into another gear in this new year and show us that the time that has passed where they've been passive or quiet has ended, and that now they're going to shake the tree, that they're going to do things that show Bermudians that they deserve to be in place. And I think that they're going to do that.
Okay. Well, I look forward to hearing from you again. Be watching this case closely. I'm not sure when something will move, if it will ever move, but I want to thank you for stepping up to the plate. I'm sure I forgot something. I'll talk to you about that later. But in closing, is there anything else you'd want to say?
Well, just to thank you for having me and giving me this opportunity to say a few things. With respect to your last comment about the legal matters, I believe that it will be settled. I promised in the beginning that I would use every single cent and fight it to my last breath. And
is it going to take all your cents? Because some people say this is designed to break you financially.
Yes, but they haven't succeeded yet. But that could be their intention. But that's better than some of the other alternatives that they could have in mind.
In closing?
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I want Bermudians to know that I will be there with you shortly.
Thank you, Dr. Brown, for joining us.
Thank you. Take care.